It's the CalebDMTG Gathering Show.
Yep, boom, boom. All right, welcome back, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for waiting for me. Excited to start part 3 of the CalebDMTG set review, Kamigawa edition. The black cards, Assassin's Ink. 2 black instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control an artifact and 1 less to cast if you control an enchantment. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Yeah, obviously this is a first pickable removal card in limited. Instant speed. It's going to cost 3 very often. Every once in a while it'll cost 2, but I think on average it's going to cost 3-ish. Hey Mon Creasy, thanks for the 3 months. Is this a constructed playable card? Probably not. Moving on. Biting Palm Ninja. Ooh, a rare. Some wild art too. Look at that palm. 2 and a black for a 3/3 creature human ninja. Ninjutsu 2 and a black. And there's a battlefield with a menace counter on it. So it's going to get that first hit in due to ninjutsu. And then it's going to be hard to block on the second. When it deals combat damage to a player, you remove a menace counter from it. When you do, that player reveals their hand, and you choose a non-land card from it, exile that card. Oh, that's very good, huh? So the opponent's hellbent, or you don't care about their hand. You just have a 3/3 with menace. But you have the option. You have that option for that sweet, sweet disruption, which you're probably going to be going for a lot of the time. Yeah, this card is clearly made for constructed ninjas in mind. A little too expensive for the Legacy Ninja deck. Hey, Lord Sorrow, thanks for 37 months. But standard interesting, for sure. And then, of course, if you're doing the ninja thing in limited, it's a high pick. But it's not like a game-winning bomb that like forces you to go into ninjas. If you open it, pack 1, pick 1. Blade of the Oni, 1 and a black. Artifact creature, equipment demon. Love it. Some sweet art too. Menace! Equipped creature has base power and toughness 5/5. Has menace and is a black demon in addition to its other colors and types. Reconfigure 2 black. It's a 3/1. I don't think I can give this card a fair evaluation. Because I love it. It's fucking sweet. A demon's sword coming to life, taking over a host body, fucking folks up. Yeah. Yeah, this is some sweet shit. Is it good? I don't care. I want to kill people with it. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Chainflail Centipede, 2 and a black, artifact creature, equipment insect. Y'all are figuring out exactly what kind of casual I am, by the way. I'm not 0% casual. I'm fucking Blade of the Oni, equipment demon casual. That's... Alright, Centipede, 2 and a black, artifact creature, equipment insect. Whenever it or another equipped creature attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Reconfigure 2. So 3 mana for a 2/2 would be pretty bad on its own. But 3 mana for a 2/2 that attacks is a 4/2. It's not terrible. And the reconfigure is very similar to a Bone Splitter type deal. when you're like throwing it onto some like evasive creature. So it's not terrible. It's not as bad as it looks. Usually you're like 3 mana for a 2/2 common thing. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be the worst. But it's not bad. It's not like a high pick or anything. But there's some decks that want this for sure. Clawing Torment, 1 black, enchantment aura. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets -1/+1 and can't block. And then enchanted permanent has, at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. So the deck where this starts to look interesting is like a very aggressive deck, right? Just simply like 1 mana, your creature can't block, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life. Starts to become interesting in a black deck. The drain is almost like adding another one of your like piddly 1-drops to the board. I go in color order, Mark Chalice. So I'm not even going to get to that card today. The colorless equipment. We're in black right now, so it's like 11 p.m. right now, right? This set has a lot of words in it, so I went into the set review today with the full expectation that I would not finish it today. Can't block sounds nice for ninjas. That does sound nice for ninjas, yeah. Borderline interesting for like a hyper aggressive standard deck. Anyway, Debt to the Kami, 2 and a black instant. Choose 1. Target opponent exiles a creature they control, or target opponent exiles an enchantment they control. So it's an edict that exiles instead of sacrifice, and then you can make someone exile enchantment instead of a creature. More black enchantment removal. How about that, huh? How about that? I'm usually not super a fan of edicts in limited. If you play it early on, you're probably going to get your opponent's best creature, because they probably only have 1 creature if you're playing this on turn 3. But the further you go into the game, the worse this gets, right? Like, you're playing this turn 3, you're killing their Goblin Piker, whatever. When you play this on turn 10, you're also killing their Goblin Piker. Whereas, like, every other kind of removal spell, quality removal spells, you get to scale with your opponent's creatures into the late game. Now when you play this on turn, like a Doomblade on turn 10, you're killing a Baneslayer Angel. This card is like very rarely going to kill a Baneslayer Angel. Partly because I don't think that card's in this set. Something that makes this a little bit better though is the fact that it hits enchantments too. The chance that they only have 1 enchantment in play on a later turn in the game is way higher than the chance that they only have 1 creature in play to limit their options. So it's a little bit better. I'm still not excited to like main deck it, but it's not an embarrassing card by any stretch of the imagination. Totally fine, unexciting, unembarrassing. Dockside Chef, 1 black, enchantment creature, human citizen. 1 in a black, second artifact or creature, draw a card, 1/2. This card's really good, right? Pretty sweet flavor-wise, too. I like all the ghost hands. Grabbing bits of ramen. Eyeball floating in there, just to get a little creepy. Yeah, I think this card's good in limited and constructed. I don't think it's quite good enough for like eternal formats where you might want like a sack outlet that fits into your Lurrus deck. Like 2 mana is like still a lot of mana. But the enchantment creature type line is interesting. I think there might be standard decks that want the sack and artifact or creature draw card on like a really efficient body. Sure, yeah, he can sack himself. Can you sacrifice artifact lands? You certainly can. Yep, artifact or creature. Creature lands too. Sack that Dryad Arbor. The issue with formats where there's artifact lands and the like is that like 2 mana is kind of a lot for that effect. Whereas in standard, 2 mana is not a lot for that effect. That's like a totally reasonable price. That's why I was saying I didn't really see it in Eternal formats. I'm not. I'm not sure I should say the first part of this because the way that I would pronounce it. Shadow Walker, 4 black creature ogre ninja ninjutsu, 3 and a black. That's a 5/5. Don't fear the blade, fear the shadows. Sweet, cool card. Hits like a truck. You kind of need that, huh? You can't just like only have piddly ninjas. You need to have a finisher somehow. Then we got Silencer here, 1 and a black, human ninja, ninjutsu, 1 and a black. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may discard a creature card. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker that player controls. Interesting. That art is wild too. Yeah, obviously if you didn't have to discard a creature card, this would be busted. It's still interesting and limited. If it wasn't restricted to creature cards, like you may discard like an extra land or something, then it'd be a lot more exciting, wouldn't it? But usually your creatures they're going to be discarding are going to be gas. The good news about that ability is if you're using ninjutsu, you will 100% have a creature in your hand. So at least it has, at least it's consistent, Tom. At least there's some consistency in the ability. Enormous Energy Blade, 2 and a black, artifact equipment. Equipped creature gives +4/+0. Whenever Enormous Energy Blade becomes attached to a creature, tap that creature. And then equip 2. I see your Schwartz is bigger than mine. Something that's interesting about Enormous Energy Blade in Limited is that the tap is a triggered ability that you can respond to. So you can move it onto a creature, the Energy Blade triggers, and then you can respond to that ability by crewing a larger vehicle. That's kind of neat. There's also a few random creatures that have untap effects in this format. The blade could work well with too. You can feel very clever about yourself when you do that. I don't think this card is like super good or anything like that, but there are some spots where it's interesting. Goshintai of Hidden Cruelty, 3 to black, legendary enchantment creature Shrine, Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1 when you do destroy target creature with toughness X or less, where X is the number of shrines you control. The 2/2. 4 mana 2/2. It does have Death Touch. I feel like for the amount of investment you're putting into this shrine, so that the effect is like not quite swingy enough. Like the blue one, for example, you're putting like almost no investment into, right? 2 mana for no 4 body. And so the ability's not that good, but that matters a whole lot less. The issue with this card is that you're spending 4 mana on it, and then you might get some value. You might kill some creatures, but they're gonna be like really small creatures that are close to not mattering anyway. And meanwhile, at this spot of the curve, people are playing larger creatures. I'm probably underrating it. Because of the Death Touch, it can, of course, like trade up too. And you don't need to gain like a lot of value before a card becomes good. You can gain a little bit of value. That's still decent. Anyway, cool card. I think all the shrines are cool cards. They'll have sweet, creepy looking art. Yeah, of course you're still going to play this card, even if, like, if you're playing a shrine deck, you're going to play this card just to pump up your other shrines, even if you're not killing much with it. Alright, Gravelighter, and 2 and a black, creature spirit. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, draw a card if a creature died this turn. Otherwise, each player sacrifices a creature, 2/2. Yeah, this card's really good. You can play it just like as a regular edict, like play it on an empty board, make both players sacrifice. You have some control over it too, right? You can play it pre-combat and make both players sacrifice, or you can play it second main phase after you've traded off creatures and then get to draw a card. So you have a lot of control over that ability. And then of course it's not just an edict, right? You can sacrifice a creature that you want to sacrifice some piddly thing, sacrifice something that's worse than a 2/2 flyer. I mean, the 3 mana 3/1 that just like edicted both players saw some play. This is probably about as good as the 3/2 where it was like creature or planeswalker, and then if they didn't sack, they had to discard a card. Like not being able to make them discard or and not hitting planeswalkers obviously makes it like less exciting for constructed play, but being able to use it to draw cards if something's died, it's pretty good upside. It's really not nothing. Yeah, Plague Bear, that was the name. Thank you. Yeah, Fleshback Marauder was the 3/1. Plague Bear was the 3/2. Plague Crafter, sorry. Yeah, Plague Bear was the 2/2 that pings everything for 1. Anyway, we don't need to go too deep on the woods comparing this to other 3 mana creature edicts. But it's a cool one. It's a neat take on it. Really sweet, creepy looking art. Does evasion get bonus points for all the ninjas around? Yeah, I mean, it does for limited, right? Alright, Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos, 3 and a black for a 4/4. Legendary creature Ogre Demon. 1 black, sack a creature, scry 2. Not exciting. not great. On a 4-drop, right? Like having to pay mana for the ability. I'm spoiled. I want to pay 0 for that. 2 and a red, tap. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you exile a non-land card this way, deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any target. So the 2 abilities do work well together. Give you a little bit of control over the top of your library. Before you can, so you can like set up a high casting cost thing before you activate. Is this card good? I mean, I think it's like obviously good and limited. Is this good enough for constructed? I don't think so, but I want it to be. I think it just like doesn't quite do enough the turn that you play it, right? A little easy to answer. A little too mana intensive to do stuff with. It is a very cheesy ability though. You don't think it's that great and limited? Oh no, this card's great and limited. 4 mana for a 4/4. You already have like a good card. If you can activate this ability, you just start pinging things, right? Note that the ping is a triggered ability, so you get to see how much damage you're dealing before you choose the target too. No, it's a great limited card. Note that you're not going to be drawing a ton of cards with the activated ability, just because it is mana intensive. But playing lands off the top, and then like the lands help you, and then play other spells. No, it's good. No goats, send it back. Yeah, right? Remake this again and let me sacrifice a goat with it. I mean, it's card advantage just to, like, if you kill a creature with it, right? Because it deals the damage to any target. So even if you don't draw a card, it's card advantage. But if you do get to play a card and kill something, oh boy. Oh boy. That's the Christmas land scenario. Inkrise, Infiltrator, 1 in a black, 1/2, human ninja, flying, 3 in a black, it's +2/+2 until end of turn. Nice. Nice little ninjutsu enabler. Also a pretty sweet ability that scales well into late game. Invoke Despair. 1 black, 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 black. Sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Then repeat this process for an enchantment and Planeswalker. I kind of fucking love this card. Hey, guy in the skull thinks the sub thinks the 39 months. So if your opponent has nothing in play, you're spending 5 mana, and they lose 6 life, and you draw 3 cards. Is that good? I think so, yeah. What if they have a shitty creature in play, and they're losing 4 life, sacrificing the shitty creature, and you draw 2? I think that's still fine for 5 mana. Yeah, I think this card's good. The quad black mana cost is also less of a downside on this card than like the quad white mana cost or the quad blue. And the reason that the quad black mana cost is less of a drawback is because the ideal mana base is all swamps anyway. So playing Invoke Despair will help your deck construction process. You'll build better decks. Certainly sweeter decks. You will be on the path to great magic riches and success if you play all the black casting spells. Anyway. The Midnight Sky, 3 black. Legendary creature Dragon Spirit. Flying Menace. When it dies, choose 1. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. Or put target non-dragon creature card from a graveyard into the battlefield under your control. You lose 2 life. Yeah, this card's sick. I think all the dragons are pretty sick. Be interesting to see what ones do the most. And constructed. One of them's got a crack standard, right? Crack constructed play. So far, the white one I think is like my pick for a card that might do something. I don't think this one's bad. Those are 2 really good abilities to choose from. Like if this lands, and then like you trade with their thing, or they kill it, getting to choose between mind rotting them, and then like if they used a removal spell on it, they just got 3 for 1, right? that's great. But if they don't have 2 cards, then you get to reanimate something else. Can't be a dragon though. It's the only downside. If this thing could reanimate a dragon, who baby? Kaido's Pursuit. 2 black. Sorcery. You think the red one's the best? Yeah, I haven't gotten to red yet. I'm only comparing it to the other dragons that I've read so far, which are the other 2. Earlier than this, right? The white and the blue one. Kaido's Pursuit. 2 black. Sorcery. And target player discards 2 cards. Ninjas and rogues you control gain menace until end of turn. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, mind rots are usually a little bit better than they look in limited. And then, it's a nice ability in this format. Help your ninjas get in there. Damage plus card advantage, why not, huh? Kami of Restless Shadows. 4 black, creature spirit. Enters the battlefield, choose 1, return a ninja or rogue creature from your graveyard to your hand. Sweet. Or you can put target creature card from a graveyard on top of your library. Put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Oh, so it's just like if you don't have a ninja or rogue, you can put some other thing on top of your library. Yeah, I mean, it's a good Gravedigger if you have like a lot of ninjas and rogues. And it's an atrocious Gravedigger if you do not. That's kind of how you should play this. Kami of Terrible Secrets. 3 black, creature spirit. Enters the battlefield if you control an artifact and an enchantment. You draw a card and you gain 1 life. I mean, 4 mana for a 3/4 is not terrible. Like, it's a reasonable stat for like crewing vehicles and stuff. Not the worst body. The odds of having an artifact and enchantment, having both in play when you play this on curve, is pretty low. That said, the ability isn't worth nothing. The ability means that when you draw this in the late game, when you've seen more of your deck, it's like way more likely to replace itself. So that's cool. Yeah, obviously just a limited card. Not a bad one. Leech Gauntlet. 1 black, artifact creature, equipment, Leech. Lifelink. Equipped creature has lifelink. Reconfigure 4. What's a 2/2? So you're not boosting the stats or anything. You're literally just giving lifelink. This card is really comparable to the Hope Eidolon Hum. Is like 1 white for a 1/1, or you could spend 4 mana to bestow it. Give something lifelink. Didn't that also give +1/+1 in lifelink? But I guess the base stats on this are a little bit better, huh? 2 mana for a 2/2 lifelink. It's a lot better than a 1 mana 1/1. Mostly a Mesa Unicorn. Yeah, mostly a Mesa Unicorn. However, sometimes you're going to put that reconfigure on something and it's going to win you the game, right? I wouldn't completely discredit it. Some like giant fucking thing. Or some fly arm. You're also in a set with a bunch of other equipment. So even if this was like purely just a Mesa Unicorn, it's also like not a bad set for a Mesa Unicorn. Anyway. Lethal Exploit. 1 in a black instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Gets an additional -1/-1 until end of turn for each modified creature you controlled as you cast this spell. Yeah, this card's good. It's a good limited pickup, even if you don't have a ton of modified stuff in your deck. Even if it's not killing your opponent's thing, like straight up. Even if it's not just like an efficient removal spell. This is the sort of card that you can use as a combat trick too. So the floor is actually like pretty high. Even if it is a situational removal spell. And then it does scale with a lot of things that you want to play in your limited deck anyway, so. Some decks can draft this pretty aggressively, I think. Life of Toshiro Umizawa, 1 in a black. Saga. 1 and 2 give you a choose one between target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and you gain 2 life. And then the last mode gets you a 2/3, where you can pay 1 life and add a black. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. Interesting. So you're not going to be able to use this as a combat trick. Because as a Saga, it's sorcery speed. I think the ideal for this is you attack with a creature. Your opponent blocks with their slightly better creature, and then post-combat, you play it, get the -1/-1 to like finish their creature off. Or it allows, you know, something like a Leech Gauntlet to get in when it wouldn't otherwise. So you get a benefit from that hit. Having a couple triggers of +2/+2 until end of turn, maybe not bad in your ninja deck. Not great, but you know, maybe not bad. And then if you have this as your only turn 2 play, you can also just like run it out and gain 4 life. Eventually have a 2/2. Really doesn't excite me that much. Like most of the Saga creatures. Yeah, never mind. This is one where, like, in terms of the uncommon sagas, I think the creature side is like less impressive, but having options on the front side is like kind of sweet. There's like not super impressive options, right? My instinct is that this card is not very good, just because this is a while to wait for a 2/3 with a questionable ability. Long Reach of Night, 3 in black. 1, each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. That's 1 and 2. Okay, so you're getting card advantage. It's shitty card advantage because it's giving the opponent a lot of options here, right? Maybe it's not that shitty. Anyway, And then once you get to 3, you exile it and you get a creature out of it. 04 Menace. Whenever it attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in defending player's graveyard. So this is one. I think this card is like clearly good. Just because it's like a lot of card advantage, right? You're getting 2 cards out of the first 2 abilities, even though they do give the opponent a lot of options, like discard or sack a bad creature. Probably discarding. But like I mentioned earlier, like mind rots are better and limited than they seem at first. And then you get no 4 at the end of it, which is like a fine blocker, and the attacking scales really well. I think if you're going to make this card exciting for constructed play, you would have to rework it. It wouldn't need much, but the backside is just like not good against every kind of deck that people play in constructed. It's like not always relevant, right? But I think you can draft this pretty early. Might be first pickable. 2 for 1 with upside. Well, this isn't a 2 for 1 with upside. This is a 3 for 1 with upside. So again, even though you're giving your opponents options here, you're still getting a creature at the end of it. So it's, yeah. It says 0 for 1 if opponent doesn't have creatures. I mean, it's a 1 for 1, right? You'll get that. You'll get this. You'll get your suspend 04 at a certain point. How often does your opponent not have any creatures in limited? And why are you casting this when they have no creatures? Anyway, Malicious Malfunction, 1 black, sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. A creature would die this way, exile it instead. Yeah, it feels like we've had similar effects. Or I'm sorry, if a creature would die this turn, not this way. If a creature would die this turn, exile it instead. It's a good card. It'll show up in some sideboards. March of Wretched Sorrow. You'll show up in some constructed sideboards, to be clear. With limited decks, obviously it's not going to be great in every deck. It's not going to be great against every deck. But the potential for value is always good. As with any sweeper.
Oh shit, what up?
March of Wretched Sorrow, X and a black instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may exile any number of black cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Deals X damage to target creature, planeswalker, and you gain X life. Man. If this could go face, it'd be pretty cracked. It can't, though. Chamberlain86 thinks the resell thinks the 10 months. 1 year closer to awesome. Aw, yeah. Yeah. Does seem like another one that won't see constructed play. I mean, I've been close to playing... Not happily playing, mind you. But like just deal X damage to a creature and gain X life. Sometimes you really want some life gain in like your extremely slow control decks. Some way to get out of like burn range and stuff. So unlike some of the other ones, I'm not gonna say this will see like no constructed play. But yeah, certainly not eternal play. Very middling standard play if it does see play there. The white one might see some play. The white one seems good enough for standard. It does not seem good enough for eternal formats though. Are there any synergies for exiling cards from your hand to gain bonus from the discounts? They're real specific, right? Cards that like Hellbent it was an old ability. Just like having no cards in your hand whatsoever. But they're usually not that good. They're usually not especially great. Mukatoi, Ambusher, 3 and a black. Artifact creature, Rat Ninja. Ninjutsu, 1 and a black. Lifelink, 3/2. Yeah, I mean, most ninjutsu cards are a little bit better than they look. And a 3/2 lifelink for 2 is like not terrible, Get that rolling, getting nice and aggressive. Help you race. Seems like a solid limited card. Mukatai Soul Ripper, 1 in a black artifact vehicle. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact or creature. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on it, and it gains menace until end of turn. Crew 2 for a 4/3. Interesting, Pretty cheap to crew. The sack is a May. I think this is costed to be interesting for constructed. There's like a lot of random disposable artifacts floating around, right? Like treasures and blood and all that. Yeah, I think this card's interesting. Like 2 mana for a 4/3 vehicle with crew 2 and no ability would not be an exciting constructed card. But if you can have some fodder to feed it and like let it start growing and getting menace, right? I don't think it needs much. Like if you sack to it twice, now you have a 6/5 and you almost don't need menace anymore. Oh, interesting, Diabor. Vehicles can no longer crew themselves. Yeah, I didn't hear that. I didn't know that. It would have been awkward if I'd found out and, like, trying to do some cute play, playing some random cube or something. Good with Luris. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is going to be good enough for Luris formats, though, you know? I'm mostly thinking about it for, like, an aggressive standard deck. You want to play this in Pioneer? You mean with, like the recursive 2/1s? Like, don't even, like, care that much about having random artifacts at all. Just be, like, planning on sacrificing Random 2-in-1s that come back. Or like blood gas type cards. Yeah, maybe that's good enough. Anyway. Nashi, Moon Sage's Scion. 1 black, legendary creature, Rat Ninja. Ninjutsu for 3 and a black. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. Oh, this card's quite good, Anytime you're just like playing cards for free, I mean, it's not free, you're spending life, but you're like combining Bob with that 5/4 blue-black ninjutsu. And that's a zesty combination. Yeah, Fallen Shinobi, that's the one. You're not getting 2 cards like Fallen Shinobi did, but you also get to stay in 1 color. And have like a much cheaper cost if you just want to play the damn thing. You get a little bit of selection. You hit both your and the opponent's library. Yeah. I think if you're playing ninjas, more often than not, you'd rather look at 2 cards of the opponent's library. if you could choose. If you have that option. Yeah, that's why it's a combination of the 2 cards, Xeroth, as opposed to literally being one of them, right? Yes, I know it's not. Anyway, let's move on. I might be mistaking some chat conversations, thinking they're being directed at me. Nezumi, Blade Blesser, 2 and a black, creature rat samurai. Has Death Touch as long as you control an artifact. Has Menace as long as you control an enchantment. It's a 3/2. That's fine, right? Like, not exciting, fillerish. Pretty good if you have both abilities. Pretty good rate if you have both abilities. Nezumi Prowler, 1 and a black artifact creature, rat ninja. Ninjutsu, 1 and a black. When enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains Death Touch and lifelink until end of turn. Oh, this is a sick one. So you can attack with like your random piddlers on the ground, right? And your opponent blocks with a like sick creature that's good at blocking. And then you just get to make it like an unfavorable trade. While also getting a 3/1 in. Sweet. Yeah, really hard to play around this, What are you gonna do, not block? Come on. Okiba Reckoner Raid. 1 black. 1 and 2. It's a saga. 1 and 2 are both each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Then it flips into a 2/2 menace that says vehicles you control at menace. So normally 1 mana with a 2/2 that has suspend 2 would be really bad. However, the fact that the first 2 modes are draining the opponent for 2 makes it a lot better than that. Draining them for 2 overall. It's kind of like you have like a 1/1 that's already like hitting them a little bit, right? It's sort of like you're playing that, oh, what was that? I wish I could remember a card name once in my life. What was that get to? It was like 1 mana for a 1/2, and then once you had a couple spells in your graveyard, it'd be like a 2/2. Sort of reminds me of that. Hit him for 1 a couple times. Then you start hitting for 2. The fact that it's got Menace, even if like you're not playing any vehicles, the fact that the 2/2 actually has Menace too. So like this is a drain that your opponent can't do anything about really. And then you get like an evasive threat. Yeah, Lava Runner, that's the one. Yeah, I've certainly played much worse 1-drops in my black aggro decks. You want to use it with ninjutsu to get to like replay the life drain. I suppose that's fine. It's not something that like you're super looking to do. But because it's coming down turn 1 instead of turn 2, like it's like a little bit less crazy to, or less slow, I should say, to actually ninjutsu it back to your hand. Remember, it's gonna have Summoning Sickness on 3. So it's like turn 4 that you get to ninjutsu something. The thing is, like in the super late game, you might just want to like drain the opponent out, right? They might be low enough. This like gives you a bit of reach with the rebuy. So a little bit more exciting with ninjutsu than the other sagas. For those reasons. Hey, Swallow Baggin, thanks for the resub, thanks for the 35 months. Yeah, cool card. For limited and constructed, huh? You can crew a vehicle to turn it flips. Yeah, just like any summoning sick creature. It can. I was talking about ninjutsu, because that was the comment I was responding to. Okipa Salvage. 4 and a black sorcery. Return target creature or vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then put 2 1/1 counters on it. You control an artifact and an enchantment. Yeah. I mean, kind of an unexciting reanimation spell. Being able to hit vehicles is kind of neat. Reckoner Shakedown. 2 and a black sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, that player discards that card. If you don't, put 2 1/1 counters on a creature or vehicle you control. Okay. So it's a discard spell that like isn't a complete brick in the late game. Or if the opponent just like has a grip of lands, I guess.
Oh shit, what up?
Yeah, it's nice to have the option. Really sick art too. Hey, Reggie Randall, thanks for the 33 months there. Reckoner's Bargain, 1 in a black instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. You gain life equal to the sacrifice permanent's mana value. Draw 2 cards. Yeah, so people have been comparing this to the sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards, and then make a treasure. I've seen some people calling it a strict upgrade, which I don't think is super right. A lot of the times you're playing that that second artifact or creature, draw 2, make a treasure. A lot of times you're playing it in deck with a lot of disposable artifacts, right? Artifact lands, random treasures, piddly things. Really, this would just be a worse card, right? You would gain 0 life and then not get a treasure out of the deal. If you get a treasure out of the deal, then it's kind of like a 1 mana card instead of a 2 mana card. So much life gain is a mana worth. The treasure fueling other copies of the draw spell, if you have multiples, it's also pretty real too, Whereas this card's more likely to get gummed up in your hand, not having something to sack. Is Village Rites in Standard? Village Rites doesn't sack an artifact. Right, Peter. Yeah, Village Rites costs 1 mana less, and sometimes it's worse than Dispute. Right, no Schwartz. It's neither. I mean, it's very rare that the Magic has like strict upgrades and strict downgrades. But I agree. I do think it's like closer to a downgrade than an upgrade. You think a free treasure is like 5 or 6 life? I think it's a little bit less than that. But like maybe 3 or 4, but even that is still like, you don't really want to be sacrificing a 3 or 4 drop, right? You'd still much rather be sacrificing a 0 or a 1 or something. Anyway, return to action. 1 in a black instant. Till end of turn, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains lifelink, and when this creature dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. Yeah, this card's fine. We've seen similar things in other limited formats. I treat it like filler. Playing it pretty rarely. Maybe boarding it in versus decks that have a ton of removal. Soul Transfer. 1 black sorcery. Choose one if you control an artifact and an enchantment. As you cast this spell, you may choose both. Exile target creature or planeswalker, or return target creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. So 3 mana for exile target creature or planeswalker is certainly fine. That's certainly a fine rate. Like it's sorcery, whereas Hero's Downfall is instant, but it's exile, whereas Hero's Downfall is destroy. And then it's not just Hero's Downfall, right? Like you also get the option to return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand, which is not great. It's not a great rate for 3 mana, but if you're just like tacking that ability onto a removal spell, then all of a sudden like you have a pretty good card. It's just nice, right? It's a nice option. And then if you ever do actually control an artifact and an enchantment as you cast it, you do get to do both. This is good value. I don't think you need to be able to do both very often for this card to be a really good card. Like I think if you get to recur something like, I don't know, like 15% of the time, I think you've got a great removal spell here. Maybe a little more, a little maybe less. I'm kind of just like pulling a number out of my ass to give you like a general idea. Neat hook and any blood or treasure. Yeah, stuff like that. A neutered K command. I mean, K command's a lot more versatile, but you're doing more powerful things than K command with this. Potentially. Alright, Tatsunari, Toad Rider. 2 in a black, legendary creature, human ninja. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kemi, create Kemi, a legendary 3/3 black and green frog creature token. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then 1 hybrid blue-green Toad Rider and target frog you control can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach. So this card's great, right? Like 3 mana for a 3/3 is not like some absurd raid or anything. But you only need to cast like 1 enchantment spell after it before you have a great raid. And then you only need to activate the ability like very few times before the opponent's dead. Yeah, right? Blue-black is like the color combination that you want to be playing. Ninjas, rogues, that sort of like unblockable trickery shenanigans. Anyway, it's one of your options for that activated ability. Yeah, in terms of this card, like obviously this card is nuts and limited, but in terms of this card being standard playable, is this a matter of like, do you have the efficient enchantments? And I think we do. I think we've seen a couple. Seem good enough. Your aggressive black shell. Tribute to Hirobi, 1 in a black. Saga, 1 and 2. Each opponent creates a 1/1 black rat rogue creature token. Interesting. So we're giving the opponent rats, and then 3 flips into a creature. 3/3 flying haste, Echo of Death's Wail. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of all rat tokens. And whenever it attacks, you may sack another creature if you do draw a card. So obviously giving your opponent 1/1s is bad. Until it's good. Yeah, this card's fucking sweet. The only thing I don't like about this card... The only thing I don't like about this card is that sometimes you're gonna get blown out when you're playing the fucking rat token mirror and your opponent plays theirs after yours, and then they get 4 rat tokens and you don't have any more. That's no good. That's no way to live. Your opponents trade off all their rats. I mean, if they trade off all their rats, then you got a 2 mana 3/3 with flying haste that also has like an attack ability, which is suspend. You know, it does have suspend, but that's still like not the most miserable. Can we give the opponents more rat tokens? I guess it's kind of hard to do so on the turn that it flips, because it's going to be doing that at the beginning of your main phase. First main phase. How many rat tokens are there? Non-zero amount. Yeah, right, Lord of Depression. They do play well in multiples. Play it on turn 2, then another on turn 3. And obviously you want to be like a very aggressive deck so that you're ahead on life total, despite the fact that you're giving your opponent some 1/1s to smack you with early on. It's really cool. It's like a Carnophage type effect where you're letting the opponent hit you a little bit. But then when it flips, you get like none of the downside and all the upside. It seems very satisfying. An exciting little card. Good enough? Who knows? Interesting? Worth testing? Abso-fucking-lutely. Talking about for limited, of course. Obviously, it's a good enough... Or, I'm sorry, talking about for constructed. Obviously, it's a good enough limited card. Alright, Twisted Embrace. 2 black, enchantment aura. Enchant artifact or creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Wow. And then as long as enchanted permanent is a creature, gets +1/+1. So with an aura like this, you have a chance of getting blown out if the opponent's got like a bounce spell or a removal spell to respond to you casting it. But the upside is quite good. You don't need much value on your limited removal spell. And +1 is +1/+1 strong. Strong enough. Like a better Hunt the Weak? It is. It's like a better Hunt the Weak. Yep. And usually black has better removal options than Hunt the Weak, but Hunt the Weak is a good card. It's not like you're like cutting it in your green-black decks. Correct. It does have the enchantment matters thing going on. It's certainly one that you can play in your like just like good cards deck to give you the enchantment type without having to play like bad enchantment creatures or sagas that don't stick around permanently, that sort of thing. Undercity Scrounger, 2 and a black, artifact creature, human rogue. Tap, create a treasure token. Activate only if a creature died this turn. It's a 1/4. Well, there's certainly like plenty of sack effects in this format that can make this like semi-consistent. Keep the fuel going. Anyway. Sick art. Yeah, it's some pretty cool art. Not a high pick, but like once you're in the archetype, once you're in that business, not a terrible thing to throw in. Unforgiving 1, 2 and a black, creature spirit, menace. Whenever Unforgiving 1 attacks, return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of modified creatures you control. Equipment auras you control and counters are modifications. 3 mana for a 2/3. So 3 mana for a 2/3 menace is not crazy. I don't think you need to trigger this very often for this card to be good. I think you can take it relatively highly. I wouldn't draft this card over like a good removal spell or like a bomb rare, obviously. But a removal or a creature that's got evasion and then also has an ability that can give you value is quite a good limited card, even if the value is situational. Yeah. All right, Virus Beetle. 1 black artifact creature insect. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. So it's Ravenous Rats, but it's an artifact and an insect instead of a rat. Yeah, the only downside is that it's not a rat, I guess. I like this. Thinking back through like Magic's history, if Ravenous Rats was an artifact creature, are there like spots where I would have played it in random like artifact matters decks? It's kind of a hard question to answer, right? And there's been a lot of artifact matters formats, and that's what makes it like an interesting tweak. I think interesting tweak on the existing design, similar to the enchantment dog Elvish Visionary that we looked at in white. Yeah, right? Artifact recursion. You can play it over and over again. You do get to ninjutsu it back, sure. And then our last card here is You Are Already Dead. Single black instant. Destroy target creature that's dealt damage this turn. Draw a card. I've seen people talk about this card in Pauper. So you play it with the witches, right? The black 1/3 pinger. There's other kind of reasonable pingers in Pauper too. My concern in Pauper is like if your Pinger isn't there, then it kind of gets stranded in your hand. But I guess you could also play Pestilence in that style of deck. Make sure it gets turned on at some point. Make sure you get that sweet, sweet value. It still cycles. If you don't have something to destroy, no, you can't cast this card without a target. There needs to be a creature that was dealt damage this turn, or you can't play it. You think this is hard to play around in Limited? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ninjutsu-friendly cards that like punish you for blocking or like failing to play around them. This is just like one more on the pile. You can't target any creature? I don't think so. Destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. I think you have to target a creature that was dealt damage, right? Yeah, there'd be an if there. Yeah, thinking about this a little bit more in Limited, it does remind me a lot of the 4-mana 3/3s that destroy a creature that have taken damage. It's a lot more efficient with costing 1 instead of costing 4, but a 3/3 body is certainly worth. It has a higher fail rate because you can run it out even if you don't, even if you're not making use of the ability. The more that I think about it, the more I think this might actually be worse than those effects for Limited. I wonder if there's some piddly burn spells or effects in red that make this like much, much better, much, much less like combat situated. Well, let's find out in a sec. I'm gonna take another break. When we come back, we'll tackle the red cards. See you folks in a few minutes. Well, that's a good point, Otto. This is a format with like 3-mana 2/3s, which tend to bounce off each other in combat, as opposed to a format with a bunch of like 3-mana 3/2s, which would trade and you wouldn't get a chance to play this. So that's a good point. It is a little bit better because of that. Anyway.